In this video, you'll be learning how to get started on your Review Assignment 1. So you can see I've got the CSIS115A folder open in Visual Studio. So when you look at the Solution Explorer, you'll see that that is the root folder here, CSIS115A. It's important you always open that particular folder as the root folder. That way when you go to publish to the student web server, the files will get published to the right location to match the URLs that you're going to be typing in. We'll be working on Review Assignment 1 here, and so I'll go ahead and open up that folder, RA1. And then looking at the instructions, you can see that the first step is to open these four files, catering, events, index, and menu, and then rename them without the _txt. It's important that you do this because that will make your navigation structure work. When we go to add the H reference values for our anchors, we'll be using the names without the _txt. So to rename them in Visual Studio, once you have the files open, you can go to the File menu, choose Save As, and then just down here where the file name is highlighted in this dialog box, you just go ahead and click and then remove the _txt and then save it. So I'll do that for the remaining three files here. File, Save As, click into the file name, delete _txt and save it. Do the same for events, Save As, click, delete, save, and then finally catering, file, Save As, get rid of that underscore text and save it. So that's step 1 in the instruction. Step 2 asks us to open up the MP index file, so I'll go ahead and make that the active file there in our code editor. And then we got a little squiggly under the head here, which is no problem. It just tells us we don't have a title element currently in there. We're going to add one in just a second here. So in step 2a now, it says we want to use the meta element to set the character encoding to file of type UTF-8. So we're going to go below the comment section here. Go ahead and add in a meta tag, then char set keyword, and then make that equal to a UTF-8. Meta tags are self-closing, so we'll do / closed angle bracket. Now in step 2b, we're going to add another meta tag. This will be the keywords meta tag. So its name equals keywords. And then for the content of this tag, we're going to be adding 4 keywords here: Italian, mobile, food, and Charlotte. In step 2c, it says set the title of our document to mobile panini. So we'll create a title element and put in the text mobile panini. And then finally, what we want to do is link to the 2 style sheets that we have over here in the RA1 folder. So we've got the MP base style sheet and the MP layout style sheet. So you could type in the link tag there, but I'll show you a shortcut, which is if you just simply click and drag MP base and drop it there underneath of our title tag, you'll see that Visual Studio will write the code out that's necessary to create both the H reference and then the relationship of style sheet for that particular style sheet. And then we want to add MP layout as well, and you do want to do them in this order: base first, layout second. And so that completes step 2 in the instructions. So going to the next page now, it says that we want to go to our document body and insert a header element. So here we are in the body. We'll go ahead and put in a header. Visual Studio creates the closer for us. And then in 3a, it says that we want to add an inline image, which is going to be the mp_logo.png file. And we'll mark the hypertext link, or actually we'll create a hypertext link around our image element so that it'll point to our index page. That way, no matter what page we're on in the website, if the user clicks on that image, it'll always take them back to the home page. So again, another little trick for you. Instead of typing in the image element there, we can just drag and drop it from the Review Assignment 1 folder. And so the image file we're looking for here is the MP1 logo. We'll go ahead and drop that inside of our header element. Now the next thing is we need to create a hypertext link for it. So that means in front of the image tag, we're going to do an A anchor tag, href as the attribute, and then we want to point it back to the index page, which is mpindex.html. Go ahead and close that opening anchor tag. Visual Studio will give us a closing anchor tag, so we'll need to reposition that now after the image. So we always want to encapsulate elements inside of anchor tags, and whatever is inside of the anchor tag, when you click on it, it goes to wherever this H reference points to. H reference, by the way, is just short for HTTP reference. So as you know, that's what a URL is an HTTP reference. In step 3b, it's asking us now to add a navigation list containing an unordered list, and then point to our 4 pages: home, menu, events, and catering. So the first thing we want to do then is underneath of the closing anchor tag, we'll add an opening nav tag. That's what gives us the navigational structure that inside of we'll put an unordered list structure, and then using list item elements we'll go ahead and add our 4 page names. Just want to cap that. And the last one is catering. So we've got our 4 list elements. Now we want to create anchors out of each of these items. So another little trick for you. This is why I keep my window set to the split, as you can see down here, where we've got the source code editor on the left, and then I've got my design view on the right. So right now we're not seeing any of the changes that we've made here. If we want to view them, we need to click on this yellow bar, which is telling us that the designer view hasn't been synced with the changes we've made there in the source code view. So we click on that. Now we can see the changes that we've made. And to quickly add hyperlinks now to each of these items, we just go into the unordered list here, and we can see there's our 4 items that we typed, our menu titles. I'm going to double click on home from my keyboard. Now I hold down Control and press the letter L. That opens up the hyperlink text box. So in there now I can just type in mp_index.html, and you'll see when I click OK, Visual Studio then wraps that text in an anchor tag, putting in the H reference value that we typed in. So we'll do that for the remaining 3 here. We'll double click on menu, go Control L. This one is mp_menu.html. Then events, double click, Control L. That one's going to be mp_events.html. And then our catering, double click it, Control L, and then again mp_, this time catering.html. So that just makes it a lot quicker. If you were manually typing out those anchors, you'd have to constantly be relocating that closing anchor tag after the text. So that kind of speeds up the process a little bit. Now we should always save our changes as we go here. So I'm going to do Control S from the keyboard. But before I do that, let me just point out, when you look at the tab of this file that we're working on, notice the asterisk to the right of the text or the file name. That's indicating that changes have been made to the document. So when I do Control S and save it, or I also could click on this button here, that's the save button. I just like the keyboard shortcut. So Control S, notice the asterisk disappears. So now we know that the changes that we made in our document have been saved. So keep an eye on that tab, and like I say, save often. That's a good idea, especially if you have power outages in your area like I do. So moving on to step number 4 now. Below the header element, insert an article element, and then below the article element, insert a footer element. So below header, add an article, and we get the closer there from Visual Studio. And then below the article, we'll add a footer. And again, it gives us the closer. Of course, it helps to type it correctly. But you'll notice what's neat about Visual Studio is I just corrected the opening tag there, added the second O, and it immediately, Visual Studio, made the correction in the closing tag as well. So that's always kind of helpful. So the next part of step 4 is to actually go into the footer here and add the footer text. And so that text reads Mobile Panini. And now we're going to add a character code here. And so the character number that we're using is 9832. So to add character codes, we want to start with an ampersand and then a hashtag, then type in the number of the code, 9832, and then end it with a semicolon. So that'll give us the icon that they're looking for. Then we're going to put in the rest of the address, 31 West Avenue, comma, Charlotte, North Carolina. The zip is 28204. Then again, we're going to add that same character code there. So ampersand, hashtag, and then the number, which is 9832. And then we'll finish off with the telephone number, 704-555-2188. So that puts our footer in there. Let's take a look and see how we're doing right now. We can see kind of how the page is looking in our design view, but the design view is not always 100% accurate. It doesn't always pick up on the styling information. We can see that the style sheets that we added into the head section are automatically adding that line at the top of our footer, but we're not seeing how the nav section is actually being set up. So let's come over here into Visual Studio's Solution Explorer, right click on the file we're working on, the MP index file, and then choose View in Browser. And so now I can bring this over and see that that's what we actually have when we load this page into a web browser. So that's how we get the menu item across the top here, and the color, highlighting it as we do a hover. That's all built into the style sheet. You'll be learning about style sheets in the next tutorial, but for now, all that's been done for you in advance by your textbook author. In step 5, they're going to have us open up this file here in the Solution Explorer in the RA1 folder, mp_pages.txt, because it has some textual content that now we'll add into our page, and then we'll do the markup on that textual content. So I'll double click and open that page up. Just want to select all of this text here from welcome down to email, copy it, go back to my index page, and then inside of our article element is where we want to paste all of that text. So just do Control V there to paste. By the way, I use Control C to do the copy from the pages.txt file. Now that we have the text there, in step 6A, it's asking us to make welcome an H1 element. And then below that H1 element, actually we got to reposition our closer here. Below this H1 element now we want to add another image, which is this MP Photo 1. So again, I'm going to go to Solution Explorer and just drag and drop that right underneath of the H1 element. In step 6C, the instructions are asking us now to mark all of these groups of text, which would be paragraphs of text, into actual paragraph elements. So we've got 5 of them here to do that. 4. And you can see I'm just doing an opening P. I get the closing P automatically by Visual Studio adding it, and then just repositioning it to the end of each paragraph. Being a little tough there to grab. Okay, so we've got all of our paragraphs set up. In in step 6C, it's having us mark the mobile panini text as strong text. That's in the first paragraph, so that's this one right here. So that means we want to add a strong tag before it, and then position the closing strong tag after it. And then in paragraph 3, we look for curbside tie, which is this one here, and we want to emphasize that text. So strong and emphasis, we used to use bold and italic, which is really what we're doing here. But for people that have vision impairments, they may be using a screen reader to read our page. And so it's better off to use the strong tag and the emphasis tag, because that tells the screen reader the type of inflection to apply to those words when it's reading that text. We're up to step 6D now. In the fourth paragraph, we've got the phone number. So we want to mark the phone number with a hypertext link using the TEL prefix. So again, we can do like we did before here. You can see here we've got that photo that we added, the welcome as the H1, and there's the bolded mobile panini, and where's the other one? Third paragraph, right? Yeah, there it is, the italicized curbside tie. So let's select the phone number portion here in the design view and use that trick that we used before, the Control L. And we want to do here is type in TEL and then the phone number, which is +1 704 555 2188. So if this was being viewed on a mobile phone, then they'd be able to press on that link and it would open that phone number up in their phone. Get the call all set up for them. The next item is the email address. Now for email we use mail to, so again I'm using Control L to open up that dialog box, and then I'll just simply type in mail to and then that actual email address, which is mobile panini at example.com, and click OK. So here you can see the changes that were actually made in the source code for us as we use the design view to make those changes. Save our work as we go here, Control S. And we should be pretty much done with this page at this point. So let's take a look at it. We'll just go ahead and right click on MP Index here in the Solution Explorer. Choose View in Browser. Here's what it looks like in our web browser. And then we're asked to compare that to the picture that's shown there on the previous page, HTML 71, so figure 1-45 on page 71. So just take a look at that page. That's what your page should look like, and it does indeed compare to what we see in the example there in the textbook. As I look at the instructions again, I realize that I have missed a couple of items here with regards to the images. I forgot to put the alternate attributes in for each of our images. So for the first image, which is the MP logo.png file there, add alt equals, and then we're going to just type in what the text reads, which is mobile panini. And then for our other image, that's just a decorative image. There's no text in there, and so for our alt tag there, we just want to make it equal to an empty set of quotes. That's how you designate that it is just for decorative purposes, and screen readers will ignore it. So we'll save those changes. We'll go ahead again and review it. Really, you're not going to see the changes that we just made because the alt tags are working behind the scenes. So visually, nothing has changed here. But that does finish the first page for you. Now you need to go in and finish up the menu page, the event page, and the catering page. I'll give you a tip, which is you'll want to copy the nav structure here from the index page into those other pages. That will save you some work, and the footer as well. And then the rest of it is just copying the text there from that mppages.txt file. Just get the appropriate text for each page, paste it in, mark it up the way the instructions identify. And then you'll be good to publish it up to the student web server and then post your URL in Canvas. So that should get you started. As always, if you've got any questions, you can feel free to message me in Canvas or send me an email or make a post in the help forum. Until next time, happy coding.